Welcome back to the latest edition of the Fourth and Gold NFL podcast. We enter week 15. There's a lot of great games this week, Paul. Let's dive straight in. So, Thursday night football, we've got Falcons at the Buccaneers. I have already dropped my Thursday night special. There's two teams kind of that are struggling at the moment, I'd say. Like the Falcons are done, but surprisingly, the Buccaneers aren't just functioning properly. And I know they've had injuries, but losing to the Saints, that is a red flag for me. And watching that game back, okay, it was one of those days. The Saints had big plays through Tyler Shuck's legs. Those were the critical game breaking plays on that side of the ball. And then on the offensive side, the Bucks just failed on fourth down almost every time. They must have gone for it 6 or 7 times and failed at least 4 or 5. Something's happened with Ibuka. Like he's not making plays anymore. Like he's had a lot of drops. Godwin's kind of taken the mantle on the receiving game. And I know Bucky Irvin is just coming back and he's showing good signs. So I look at this game and I say, you haven't got to worry about the quarterback running this week with Kirk Cousins, third Cousins, but you do have to worry about Bijan Robinson. Can you stop him? In week 1, they had a plan because Bijan Robinson rushed for under 20 yards maybe, but he went over 100 yards receiving. So I say Bucks, do not blitz tonight because they're just going to dump it off to Bijan any way they can, and you're going to get in one-on-one situations that you do not want. Either way, I'm going to say the Bucks bounce back. I'm not confident about it because they don't look right, but the Falcons, I'm not on them anymore. So I say the Bucks have more to gain. They'll be more motivated to do well tonight. And I'm just going to say that they don't have a fourth down failure night. They make plays. With Mike Evans back, I'm not saying that he's going to be involved a lot in the passing game, but just having him there could make a difference for the likes of Ibuka, Tez Johnson, Godwin. So Buccaneers win.
Yeah, I agree. I don't feel great about it, but I am going to take Tampa Bay. Their season has been very interesting. Like they were banged up and winning games late in a lot of situations, or winning games in the fourth quarter with clutch and just being a well coached, well run team. And recently they've been healthy or more healthy, but now it seems like their luck has run out and now they're losing these games. But because of the division that they're in, and it's the same with the Panthers, they're still going to be in it right until the very end because they still have to play the Panthers twice.
Mm.
The Falcons just have a habit of losing games in stupid ways, whether it's through special teams or turnovers or just bad coaching. They just find ways to lose football games despite the talent that they have on their roster. One interesting side note on this game, though, is Kirk Cousins. Do you remember the game last year? Kirk Cousins threw for 500 on this defense.
How can you forget that game?
That crazy game in the dome. But it's Atlanta. I'm going to stay true to what I said a few weeks ago. I will fade Atlanta until they give me reason to doubt that selection. So Tampa Bay need it more. I'm going to just put down, like you said, I'm going to put down last week to Tyler Shuck kind of catching fire, New Orleans finding something and going, oh, okay, we could have quarterback design runs and hurt you that way. And they devastated the Bucks with Tyler Shuck and his legs. So, and Kirk Cousins, as we know, is not going to do that to you. So I will take Tampa Bay and I will take them to cover. I don't feel great about it, Don't feel great about the 5.5, but I just think they're a desperate team, and I will pick the home team division game to win on Thursday night.
Okay. Moving on, Cardinals at the Texans. Texans favored by 9.5. What do you say about this one?
I think this is a very, very bad situation for Jacoby Brissett. He's not a mobile quarterback, and he's going to have to stand in there against this defense, this D line. It's ferocious, and he's not. He doesn't even he doesn't even seem to be slightly aggressive back there. So I think this could be a multiple sack day for the Texans defense. And the Cardinals they're kind of falling apart now. Well, I mean, they have fallen apart. They're just waiting for season end now. With this game, I'm just what I want to see is the Texans now kind of get something going on offense. So they've CJ Stroud, great credit in not in the stats, but in the kind of clutch moments last week. Hostile environment against Kansas City to knock them out of the playoffs, most likely. He just came up with some big plays with his legs. I was getting at CJ Stroud for not being elusive enough. I think he did a great job last week of avoiding particularly Chris Jones. And you could look at the box score and say, yeah, CJ Stroud, I mean, he won it, but it was his defense. No, no, no. You need to watch the game back. He played a good game. His games are won in situations. So can the Texans kind of get something? Because if they get something going, this Texans team, they're turning into like the Bengals from last year or over multiple years. Like, oh, we don't want to see the Texans in the playoffs. Jeez, like who wants to have the Texans coming into your house? Or are the Texans going to catch the Jaguars? I'd rather be because there's a chance they could win this division. The Jaguars have the Jets this week, but then things toughen up for the Jaguars moving forward after this week. So that's my interesting thing to watch from this game. Can the Texans kind of click a little bit on offense? Because we've seen it if a team kind of clicks and gets hot at the right time of year, December, January, that's what you want. So this is a good moment for them against the Cardinals team that have fallen apart, played terrible on defense recently. So yeah, I think the Texans are going to win, and I think the Texans are going to kill them. I think they're going to cover this. I know it's a low points total, and convention says low points total, big spreads. You take the team to cover. You take the dog to cover on a low points total. I disagree in this situation because I think it's a bad matchup. Jacoby Brissett against this defense, they don't have great weapons, the Cardinals. So give me the Texans to win, cover, and crush the Cardinals.
I totally agree. I mean, what happened to Jacoby Brissett in Seattle? Like it was it was like fumble six after fumble six. This defense, they have fully won me over. And this isn't like, what have you done for me last week? I've picked the Texans to win big games for the last month now. I picked them to beat the Bills. I picked them to beat the Colts. And I picked them to go into Kansas City and win that game. And they did not let me down. This defense is number one. It is legit. And as you said, can CJ Stroud and the offense just complement it? And what you said was spot on about the game. CJ Stroud, 15 for 31. Oh, that's under 50%. If you look at those completions, there was 9 or 10 that were massive plays in the game. So if it's almost, to me, I think it is CJ Stroud missed 3 games and the long-necked backup, I can't remember his name, went 3-0. And I wonder if that just lit a fire under CJ Stroud to say, they're winning without me. I need to level up here and play more like my rookie season. And he hasn't reached that point, obviously, but he's been a lot better since he's been back. As you said, this is a week where let's figure some things out on offense, even if we have to make a few mistakes along the way. Because number one defense, number one in yards allowed, number one in points allowed. You can trust them. The rush is going to get to Jacoby Brissett. If that fails, look at this secondary now. The guy Petra, the safety, the hard hitting missile like safety. Did you see that hit on Rashee Rice? Damn. But the thing is, they are all bullhawks. All four of them have had like multiple picks. I don't think any secondary can say that. So I love this team, and I'm starting to believe that they can win the AFC. Simply, they win, they cover. The AFC, as you said it last week, is wide open. Why not the Texans? On to the next one. What a game this could be. Maybe for the wrong reasons. Ravens at the Bengals. The spread is -2.5 in favor of the Ravens. I think it's really like we're starting to reach panic mode a bit with the Ravens again. Like they did so well after such a bad start to the year to claw their way back to the top of this division. And then they've lost it with a loss against the Steelers last week. Now, you could point to a few decisions in this game that went the Steelers' way.
For sure.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But they still lost the game. They still lost the game. They still don't look like the Ravens. And Rodgers had a few big plays in that game. And if you look at the Bengals, I mean, the first half of that Bills game, I was sitting there thinking, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. Joe Burrow just slicing up this Bills defense. T. Higgins making big plays. Yeah, okay. They had a plan for Jamar Chase, but the Bills historically always have a plan for Jamar Chase. So it went the way that probably the Bengals expected. What we weren't expecting is multiple turnovers from Joe Burrow late in the fourth quarter. Very unlike him. And he didn't seem happy this week in his weekly press conference. Almost like everyone's saying Andrew Luck vibes, or, if it's not he's, thinking of retirement, he wants out of this team because he said he has to enjoy it to play. I don't know if that's him sending a message. Don't know. But it is a bit of a distraction this week. And when we look at the previous game between these two, which was only 2 or 3 weeks ago on Thanksgiving, the Ravens had a lot of big plays in the first half that got called back or led to a mistake, i.e. Isaiah Likely, 40-yard touchdown. Oh, no, wait, he fumbled just at the goal line. So this one's a difficult one. This is a difficult one to call because are the Ravens going to be able to function without making mistakes? I don't know. And on that basis, I am actually going to take the Bengals to win this game because Jamar Chase always goes off on the Ravens. Okay, he didn't go for 200 this time on Thanksgiving, but he still had his piece. And Lamar just doesn't look right. I don't know what it is, but he does not look right. And I'm not sure if he's gonna find himself. I don't know if it's this injury. It feels like it's more than that with this offense. They're not functioning at the level that I expect of them. So I'm going to roll with the Bengals this week. I can't be confident on it, really, if I'd pick the Ravens either. Like it's two teams that have shown us who they are, which is inconsistent. So I will take the Bengals. Therefore, they will cover the 2.5. Well, they'll cover the 2.5 to win the game.
Yeah, I watched the Steelers Ravens game start to finish, and yeah, you hit it. Like Baltimore, they're not the Ravens that we know currently. They are not covering in the secondary. They are not functioning as you would expect on offense. I mean, I know they put up stats against the Steelers like yards in the rushing game, but it wasn't in critical moments. It was, and and it's not Lamar Jackson just devastating you with his legs now. The play that summed up Lamar for me was when he got picked by, so he done a, what you would expect a typical Lamar Jackson play. He's run up to the linebacker and then he just has to dump it over his head, and he didn't make the throw. Like the throw wasn't there and he got picked. And you're looking at it like he makes that play in his sleep every time throughout his career. And I saw that because I've seen that play. Following the Steelers, I've obviously followed the Ravens closely, and you see that and you're like, yeah, now I believe what people have said. Lamar Jackson is not right. He is not fully healthy, and with the player that he is, that greatly impacts how he can play the game. He's not a conventional drop back passer. He needs to be mobile back there. And it's almost like his mobility kind of feeds into his confidence in the passing game, and that's off as well. And yeah, they're just not clicking at all together as a unit on offense. And then their defense, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was dotting them up. Like Aaron Rodgers threw for 300 against the Ravens defense. And that hasn't happened a lot this year. And the Steelers passing game, I mean, as the ball was being completed to DK Metcalf, that was the first Steelers completion of over 20 yards in a month. And that was what, on the first or second play of the game? So the Steelers just went straight at the Ravens, and they kind of did it a few times. There was a few big plays, the play to Calvin Austin down the sideline, and like simple plays. You saw like the breakdown when Warren caught like a simple dump off. It was just a dump off just to get some yards, and miscommunication. Ravens linebacker isn't covering the back out of the backfield, and he just walks in for a touchdown, 30 something yards, untouched. So, so this is not a normal Ravens Bengals kind of game where oh well, it's going to be high flying offense, and I don't really know which way I'm going to go with this. Will I go with Lamar and Derrick Henry, or will I go with Jamar Chase, T Higgins, and Joe Burrow? But the unit that is functioning, except in the fourth quarter at Buffalo, is the Bengals offense. And I know they're missing T Higgins, who's, side note, shouldn't have gone back into the game. He was clearly concussed. But the Ravens through history do not cover Jamar Chase. And they couldn't cover DK Metcalf last week in a, you would say a kind of a one dominant receiver offense in the Steelers. So what are they going to look like against Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and the Bengals? So I'm just going to go, I think the strongest unit of the four is the Bengals offense. They're at home. I don't trust the Ravens at the minute. I know they need it, but yeah, they went 5-1 in that period, but look back at the teams they beat. Who did they beat? Yeah, they had a win against the Cowboys, but the Cowboys aren't world beaters either. So I'm just going to go with Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. I know Joe Burrow is not happy, but when is he ever happy? Really, he's never never really seems. He's just a competitor. I just don't think. Yeah, he probably doesn't want to be on the Bengals. Trey Hendrickson, apparently, he needs surgery, but like he's not in a rush to get the surgery because he's going to be a free agent and plays for the Bengals, and they're a cheap organization, so he's out of there.
Mm-hmm.
contract, and they've kind of helped that situation progress by being the Bengals. But I'm going to go with Burrow, Chase, and the Bengals at home because I just trust that Bengals offense more than I do what Baltimore have showed me lately.
Yep. I hope we get a good game though, because like if these two turn up, I mean they did last year, we get some real classics. So we'll see.
I don't think it's looking at Lamar. I don't think it's like a week away though. He
No.
doesn't seem like, oh, it could click at any moment. It seems like he needs, and I know they can't do it now, but it looks like he needs a period off.
Mm,
He needs like a period off, and they're not going to do it because they're still in the hunt for the division. But Snoop Huntley is good backup, and they had that disaster where they played the other guy. You remember they
oh,
played
the old Cowboys
uh,
backup,
Rush, yeah. They played
Cooper
Cooper
Rush.
instead of Snoop Huntley, who's been in this system the whole time. And as
Yeah.
soon as it went back to Snoop Huntley, then it all kind of took off. But yeah, Lamar Jackson, like, yeah, obviously the Steelers won that game last week, but so I was pleased about that. But it's kind of sad to see like a competitor, like a player like Lamar Jackson. You're like, something's not right. Should he be out
Yeah.
there?
Mm, I agree. So from one pretty important game to another, the Bills are going into New England. Bills are favored by 1.5. Naturally, the Patriots are a bit chippy about that already. What do you think is going to happen in this one, Paul?
I honestly have no idea about this, just on the basis that and I know it's the catchphrase, who have New England played except obviously the Bills earlier in the year?
Mm.
Was that a Patriots win or was that a Bills loss kind of, did they donate the game? I don't know.
At the time, we both felt that the Bills lost the game more than, obviously the Patriots played well, but I remember us thinking the Bills made a few too many mistakes in this one.
Yeah, I think I don't, I'm not going to be like totally unfair to the Patriots. I do give them credit because they have played extremely well. When I've watched them, I have been massively impressed. But we're about to get into like crunch time of the season, and it's a weird situation because I think this game means more to. I think this game means more to the Patriots than the Bills because I think the Bills they can. It's crazy that Josh Allen would be the most experienced quarterback in this AFC playoffs currently. And there would be absolutely no excuse for the Bills not to go on a run in the playoffs, regardless if they win the division or not, which looking unlikely. But Mahomes is almost certain to miss it. Burrow's going to miss it. Lamar's doubtful to make it now. So over to you, Josh. And that was the narrative coming into the season. So these are the moments now. But this is not going to really define their season. This is more just, I think, a rivalry, like division game. Yeah, we don't want you to sweep us and win the division, but this is not the Bills' season. They're still going to make the playoffs as a wild card, and
But they could win the division if they win this game. That's an angle in to the importance of the game. We know, like you said, if the Bills are in the wild card spot, who cares? They've been in these spots before, but it would help to win the division. So there's still quite a lot on the line here.
we need to look up the Patriots schedule because I didn't think that was even. I know they're 2 games behind, but I didn't even think that was a possibility because the Patriots again
Oh,
have
who
got
have they got left? Like Dolphins.
have got this historic. They're bound to have Dolphins Jets again. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so it's Bills. Okay, so they go to the Ravens next week, but the Ravens aren't right. And then they finish
Mm.
Jets, Dolphins.
So it's these 2 weeks for the Patriots. They need to win. They need to win one of these two games, and yeah,
Yeah,
they're pretty much home.
yeah. I don't know. I don't feel great about it, but I think I'm just going to lean the Bills because I give them. I don't, because I just don't know whether to take the Patriots fully seriously yet.
Mm.
And I think that's a fair. I don't think that's being unfair to the Patriots. I just don't know how much value to place on the wins that they've had. And yeah, I know that they beat the Bills earlier in the season, but so just based on the last few years of NFL, I'm going to go with Buffalo to go in there and to remind the Patriots that, yeah, calm yourselves down. Like, we're still here. We're still in this division. This is still our division until you go out and earn it and win it. And I think it would be, yeah, I think the Bills will be motivated. I think they will. I talked myself into, yeah, it doesn't really matter for the Bills. They're going to be a wild card anyway. Nah, I don't. I think they're going to want to stick it to the Patriots. The Patriots will play hard, my variable team, but yeah, I'll take Buffalo.
Okay. I've been watching a lot more of the Patriots recently, and I'm definitely impressed. Like, this is a good team. We don't know how good, as you've said, and we'll find out in January. But one thing I noticed last week, so they played Thursday night. Was it Thursday night? Or their last game was Ramondre Stevenson back involved. And you look at the plays that he gets the ball versus the plays that Travion Henderson gets the ball. Who are you kidding? That's your new number one. Like, Henderson is explosive. Like, he can cut, like, I'm not saying he's Jameer Gibbs, but he's explosive. And you look at Ramondre Stevenson, and it is like, it is chain moving, grinding. Like, I don't know, maybe because they were playing the Giants, they thought, let's lead with Stevenson and just see how it goes. And it was underwhelming. May May can definitely play. And of course, it's another grudge match for Stefan Diggs. They can say that this not a grudge match. It is. And he went off in the first game. But as I remember the first game, the Bills had a number of turnovers. Now, James Cook had a bit of a fumbling problem last week against the Bengals. I don't expect him to do that this week. Like, I think he'll clean that up. But you watch the first half, and Burrow absolutely just sliced them apart on defense. And when it's like that, their defense looks really, really average. And I'm sort of asking myself, can the Patriots do that with McDaniel and his scheming? Diggs is still able to separate. And of course, it comes down to Drake May. Can he make plays? He can. And I look at the Bills, and I'm just like, I just ask the same question every week. I feel like I know I'm a broken record. Who is gonna make the difference for this team outside of James Cook and Josh Allen? And I still say there's no one, there's no one in the receiving game that I look at and say he worries me or he's reliable and I can trust him. So this is difficult because you're sort of saying, well, how do the Bills win the game? Josh Allen has to go off. Josh Allen has to have one of his miracle games where, he rushes for 3 touchdowns and he throws for 3 touchdowns. Well, you know what? I say this is going to be one of those games. Josh Allen is going to go off in this game and remind New England this is our division until it's not. And this isn't over yet. If the Bills win this game, like I said, they are one game back. And that makes that Ravens game next week very, very interesting. So I say the Bills win, but only because of Josh Allen and a Batman and Robin kind of performance from James Cook as well. Next up, Browns at the Bears. The Bears are favored by 7.5. The Bears gave a very, very good effort against the Packers until that final play. 4th and 1. Just sneak the damn ball. They tried a little rollout thinking that the flat would be open. It wasn't. Then they had Komet over the top. He was covered. Caleb underthrew it. Okay. It didn't work out. The only thing I'll say to that is they ran a very, very similar play in a similar spot in Philadelphia, and it did work. And I just wonder whether the Packers kind of telegraphed that that could be a possibility. I'm not gonna criticize Ben Johnson too hard because that was still a great game. They fought back hard. Caleb was brilliant in the game. I'm not gonna hold anything against him on one throw because I think the play was more flawed than the execution of the play. I would have rather just seen them sneak, and if you don't get it, I can live with that. They come up against the Browns team who have just lost to the Titans.
That was a crazy
Um,
title, by the way. Crazy.
Crazy game, crazy ending. I'm sorry, but Stefanski has to go. I don't like what he's doing with Shador. Like, he's not even giving Shador a chance. Like, you got a chance to tie the game and you take the ball out of your quarterback's hands. And he played pretty well from what I saw to run a reverse sweep. Okay, the players didn't execute it properly. And who knows if that would have worked. But I think that kind of sums up Stefanski's offense. Like, he doesn't have the answers in the passing game. He's a run specialist. And if this team wants to go further, they need a new head coach, in my opinion. They've had a pretty good draft overall, apart from maybe wasting, a pick on two quarterbacks. I think the Bears win this game. I know the Browns scare me with that defense, but the Titans moved the ball a lot on them. And I think the Bears will be quite up for this game, considering they lost a close one against the Packers. I don't think it's going to be, one loss turns into two because we're still thinking about that Packers loss. I think they'll come out and they will handle the Browns. I don't think I can. I don't think I can call the spread though. That's a high spread. I think that I think the Bears will win the game. And
It's going to be cold. It's going to be really cold. That's a factor this week, especially.
ooh.
Well, this is one of the games. I've heard this as a potential ice bowl.
Uh-oh. That actually changes my thinking a lot because they're going to want to run the ball, and the Browns can, the Browns will stop the run. I think it will be a tough day for Swift and Monungai. But I just am a believer in Caleb and his ability to scramble and evade and make plays. He's a good player. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the crowd that don't want to accept that, but Caleb is ascending, and I still see a lot of growth for him. So, yeah, the Browns, I think they could scare the Bears a little bit considering the conditions now, but I'm taking the Bears.
I like the Bears. I really liked the performance in Green Bay.
Yep.
I thought the Packers were going to win that quite comfortably. And
Mm.
Bears just, they dominated time of possession. They ran more plays on offense than the Packers in their house, in their conditions. I was just impressed, and especially as the Packers kind of came out punching. Jordan Love throwing deep, and I thought watching it in the first quarter, like, uh-oh, I think Chicago's in for a long day here. I, Jordan Love's feeling himself like this is gonna be tough on Chicago. Like, welcome to the NFC North kind of moment. Like, yeah, you've arrived in your division rival's house, and the quarterback's feeling himself late in the season, and yeah, this is. I think they're gonna get beaten a couple of scores. No, and they were right in there, tied the game late, and yeah, it got away at the end. But credit to the Bears and that's fair to say, you can give a team credit in defeat sometimes because that's not an elimination game. And they're still right there. So, but to make that one count, they need to handle this week against a lesser than opponent in Cleveland. Conditions are going to be tough. It's going to be really cold in Chicago this week. I don't know about the snow, but I know a lot of the East Coast games, and obviously with Chicago kind of spreading into the Midwest, are going to be snow games this week. So that could affect, don't know about wind conditions. Like, I know there's quite often wind coming off the lake there in Chicago, like how that's going to impact throwing the ball. Is this is this a game that's going to be played at the line of scrimmage with runs a lot? We don't know. We're not meteorologists. We can just tell you about how we see the matchup of teams, and teams wise, Chicago is better than Cleveland's. But I took Shador Sanders to go off last week, and do you know what? He, at least stats wise, and I know it's not played in box scores, but yeah, he had one bad pick. But for most of the rest of the game, that defeat was not on Shador. And I think so far, at least, they feel pretty good about taking Shador in the fifth round. Fifth, sixth? I know was it
Fifth
fifth?
round.
Fifth round. Okay. Some reason I was doubting myself. Like, what was it? Crazy, like a sixth round pick. I know it was crazy late, but yeah, this is still a really good Cleveland defense. I know they had like a what the hell moment last week against the Titans. Those games can happen from time to time. This is still a really good defense. And good defenses generally play well in tough conditions, which is going to be in Chicago this week. So I'm going to say that Chicago win. I'm going to say they go back to the form that we've seen from Chicago earlier in the season, in that they win in a close game. So Chicago win, but Cleveland cover. And yeah, we'll just wait and see what the conditions are going to be like.
Okay. Next up, we have the lowly Las Vegas Raiders going into Philadelphia. The spread is 11 and a half. I know what you might be thinking, Paul, because the headline I've seen all week is Jalen Hurts threw 4 picks. Jalen Hurts threw 4 picks.
That
That's
wasn't my first thought. Raiders Eagles was Kenny Pickett revenge game.
oh wow.
First thought, Kenny Pickett Super Bowl Kenny Pickett revenge game.
He's back. Yeah. I watched the Eagles Chargers. I watched the game in 40. What a hell of a game. It was crazy, but the end of that game was amazing. Not even the end, the whole game was amazing. And I went back and watched it again in the coach's film to just understand more. And yeah, the headline all week, Jalen Hurts threw 4 picks. Well, you told me something on Tuesday that was interesting. That Sirianni has been more involved in the office. Sorry, in the offense, and it shows in the film. They ran a much more expansive offense, and yeah, Jalen Hurts threw 4 picks because guess what? This offense is a proper offense. It's uncomfortable for Jalen Hurts. It's uncomfortable to be uncomfortable. But I personally saw a lot of promise from it. Like Jalen Hurts made some big time throws. What, 3rd and 16 in overtime? And he hits Devonta Smith on the skinny post. And there were a few plays where he's gone through progressions. The first read isn't there. The second one's a check down. Actually, I'm going to wait. And he hits a big play. Yeah, okay. He threw the dumb pick to AJ Brown when Dotson was wide open ahead of him. But it's going to happen. And I personally think they have to stay on this path. They cannot get discouraged by the turnovers. Because I bet you this week, Jalen Hurts doesn't throw 4 picks. And they've got a nice schedule here. 3 of these 4 games, I think one of them is against the Bills. So the other 3 are favorable. And it gives them a chance to figure this out. What I don't want to see from the Eagles from a neutral point of view is it's the Raiders, safe offense, run the ball, throw the check down to Goddard. You learn nothing from that. Keep with this expanded offense and get some confidence because this team is still full of talent and they can still figure this out in the next 4 weeks. This game will take care of itself either way, whether they do what I say or whether they revert back to safe mode. But they learn nothing from that. And I've got to say, Goddard impressed me in the film. This dude knows all about leverages. Like, he really knows how to position himself. Before the game sealing pick, he made a huge play where he ran in and he knew that the DB had inside leverage. So he used it against him and ran out. And it was a big play. And I thought, wow, this game is about to be over. And the game sealing pick, yeah, it was a tight window. And okay, maybe it wasn't the right decision, but the defender made a great play. It like reminded me of Sherman against my 49ers, tipping it and the safety making the interception. The Raiders, I have nothing good to say about, so I'm not going to say anything at all. Eagles win, Eagles cover. End of story.
Yeah, I agree with you completely about Philadelphia. I know it's easy to say, yeah, 4 picks, they lost the game. But yeah, they've got to stick with it because as you said, they don't learn anything from, one-on-one matchups. You're like, yeah, AJ Brown's an absolute physical freak. He's going to beat most guys one-on-one. And Jalen Hurts can throw a deep ball. So if we stick with that, then, more often than not, it will come off. And if we block up on the offensive line, then yeah, Saquon's really good, but it just hasn't kind of worked this year. And they do need to be more adventurous on offense. And yeah, you could see it in the Chargers game. It was kind of crazy. Kind of crazy to see that from Philadelphia. You could see a real change. And yeah, it was clear to see that Sirianni had his prints all over it. I think this offensive coordinator's done. I think he's done. So I think it took them too long to figure that out. But I think maybe they've got a little bit of a cushion, Like Dallas have done. Dallas aren't catching. So it's only really like playoff seeding now for them. They're going to win the division, so home playoff game, and then it's just seeding for the playoffs. Um, Kenny Pickett, can he? Now, Kenny Pickett is who he is, but can he be better than Geno Smith? The Geno Smith team this year? I think there's a chance.
Yeah.
And if they really just kept it very, very simple in Vegas, and just threw to Bowers and Genty a lot, then they could have some success. It's still a really bad offensive line. However, Kenny Pickett is more mobile than Geno Smith. Kenny Pickett does, and Kenny Pickett, from I remember it well from his days in Pittsburgh, he used to drive me crazy. He used to take off too early. He didn't used to hang in the pocket at all. So that could actually work great for the Raiders. But the Raiders need the number one overall pick because they need a quarterback. But yeah, the Raiders, that's what I'd be interested to see. Can Kenny Pickett be better than Geno Smith currently? Because let's face it, they have been dreadful. Absolutely terrible. Bowers does not, and I know Bowers is a freak, but with the Eagles and their guys, the linebackers that they have, like, Bourne and those guys, like, it's going to be hard for Bowers to get open really against Philadelphia. So I think this could be a bit of a beating. But what? I'm going to take the Raiders to cover just because I think that Kenny Pickett could, I don't know, it's crazy. But I think I'm a believer in Kenny Pickett. Like, what is it now? Third time? Fourth time lucky. I forgot he was on the Browns for a period. He didn't actually take the field, but yeah, fourth time lucky for Kenny P.
I mean, there is something to that because Pickett didn't start Did he start the previous game?
Yeah, and he threw a great
Oh, he
touchdown.
did. Okay.
Great throw. So
Because what you find is when there's a change at quarterback, this sort of thing can happen where suddenly it's like, oh, well, we were planning for Geno Smith, and now we're scrambling around to understand what Pickett can do well.
yeah,
And
what week 2 or week 3 of Chip Kelly being out of there?
yeah, so again, it's like I know it's probably still doom and gloom for the
Yeah,
Raiders, but I see where I see where you're coming from
yeah, because
on
it
the
was
cover.
desperation before, so it might be slightly better than that.
Yeah, yeah,
We're being optimistic. We're trying to help the Raiders out.
that's right, that's right. With Steelers and alumni.
Yeah.
Next up, what a huge game this is. Can they put the final nail in the coffin? Chargers at Chiefs. What say you on this, Paul?
So these teams, when I was thinking about this game, these teams are actually quite similar in a way. Like they're both banged up offensive lines. Um, the Chargers are slightly better in the running game than the Chiefs. The receivers on both teams have big question marks. The defenses of both teams are both pretty good. And the quarterbacks, both superstar quarterbacks, seem to be running for their life constantly. So they're kind of quite similar teams in a way. And and I don't know, like I I don't want to get into the details of that Chiefs Texans game, but I think that game was I think it's fair to criticize Kansas City for how they managed that game late.
Yeah,
And
it's 10-10.
yeah, and I mean, it's not like the Texans were lighting you up on offense. So, I mean, what are you doing? Just punt
Yeah.
the ball, play defense. Like
They
they've
had
only,
shut them out in the second half up to that point.
they've scored 10 points all game. Like they're not devastating you, but live by the sword and that. Um, I don't get why the Chiefs are favourite by 5.5 based on what Kansas City have shown lately. I get that they're favourites at home.
Mm.
The Chargers, though, I mean, Herbert is taking a beating back there now.
Yeah.
It's really bad. It's really, really bad. And like I said before the Eagles game last week, I don't, yeah, the Chargers could make the playoffs, but they're not going to go anywhere further than probably the first round. Depending on matchups, maybe they get lucky and maybe they get the winner of the AFC North, like the Steelers or Ravens, and maybe they progress through that one. But the Chargers don't have a long lifespan in the playoffs with this offensive line. And Greg Roman now seems to kind of he seems to be Greg Roman just follows like the same pattern every year by about week three by about Thanksgiving. So we're on schedule. Like he kind of runs out of runway, and then like the offense is not. It was really inventive at the start of the year, and then now I don't like it as much. He seems to have I don't know. Should maybe hold some things back.
Mm.
Uh, Screw it. I'm going to pick Kansas City. I don't love it, but I'm going to pick Kansas City. I'm going to pick Kansas City. I'm going to pick the Chargers to cover. I don't love it. These teams are kind of the same.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. It's just that one team has been able to win the big moments more than the other,
Yeah.
pretty much. You know, I thought the Chargers were going to lose that game in overtime last week when I can't remember the defensive end, but when he went offside, 4th and 4, and reset the downs, and then Goddard had that big play, I was like, damn, they had this one. And yeah, the DB made a great play. Quite simply for this game, Justin Herbert rushing, Patrick Mahomes rushing. You can book it.
Mahomes is, I mean, they're both quite banged up, but Mahomes looks really banged up. I know they're both going to play.
Yeah. I mean,
If
Herbert's playing with he broke his hand, and I mean he was getting leveled a few times in that Eagles game. And as you said, it's a great point. Greg Roman's offense has just fallen flat, and all we're seeing in that game is Herbert scrambling. The amount of like rushes Herbert had in that game, I was like, you got to be careful here. Like he ain't gonna make it to. He's not gonna make it to the playoffs. I don't know what to make of the Chiefs. I don't know. It is over for them. They are not making the playoffs this year.
hold on,
Uh,
there is, they're
there's
not.
a route. There's a route, but
There
this.
is. It is this week because the only team that they can tie break with is the Chargers, so they have to beat the Chargers. It's the Chargers. They can if the Broncos play the Chargers in Week 18. So if the Broncos beat the Chargers in Week 18, then the Chiefs have the tiebreaker over the Chargers. So provided they tie the Chargers record wise, they can make it.
But
It's
they're
not.
3 games behind.
Are they 3 games behind the Chargers? Well, okay, so they'll be 2 games behind after this week,
Two
and the
games with 3 to play. Yeah. So that's why that Eagles game was huge. Winning that game was absolutely huge for the Chargers because if they lose that game and they go into the Kansas City and lose that one, suddenly it's 1 game. So it was a big deal. You know, that play at the end was a huge deal for them.
so the Chargers. Right. So hear me out with the Chiefs
Okay.
Chargers.
Okay.
The Chargers is Kansas City,
Mhm.
followed by Dallas. Okay, but Dallas could, you know,
Yeah.
Chargers. You can make a case for that in
Mhm.
LA. You know,
I
no
think
home.
I know what you're going to say next.
Houston
Yep.
in Houston.
Oh boy.
That's a problem. That's a problem with that O line and that pass rush. And then they round out with the Broncos. Now,
Wow.
Broncos could have tied up, so the Broncos could be in a, we know who we're playing in the playoffs. We've got our
Yeah.
season, so we're going to rest. We don't like the Chiefs, so we're going to let the Chargers win to eliminate the Chiefs. Obviously, we're 4 weeks away from that, but
Yeah,
scrap all that if Kansas lose this week. They're done.
yeah. Wow, I did not really. I knew they were playing the Texans, but I didn't realize that was the rest of their schedule.
Yeah, so
So this is actually quite a big game then. Well, obviously the Chargers. I mean, like I said, Hurts had a few big plays on them, but the Chiefs don't look for big plays. This is going to be a scrappy, close to the chest game. It's going to be like I would take the under. And who's going to win it? Like Kelsey got dragged a lot for that pick, but the throw was behind him. So I'm going to defend it. Like he took it, he owned it. And I'm like, no, hold on. That was thrown behind you. Okay. And everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, but he would have made that back in the day. Okay. But the throw still wasn't like it was behind him.
yeah, but he's Mr. Swift, so he gets that. He gets
Yeah.
that trick. It's it's
It's
Chiefs
like,
Mahomes, Reed, it's Travis Kelsey. It's as soon as you show any weakness, like, oh, you're old, you're done. Just get out of here. You know.
yeah.
But yeah, I
And
I completely agree with you. That play, it was a tough catch.
yeah. And I love Mahomes like probably more than most. But I can say that was not a good throw.
Yeah.
I'm having real trouble picking this game. Yeah, I'm going to lean with the Chiefs. I think that this is, ultimate desperation. I still say they don't make the playoffs, but I think they're going to win this one mainly because, yeah, like the Chargers, they are, like you said, they're the same team. They've just they've just been better, or they've executed in some game-winning moments more than the Chiefs. Simple as that. But they are very similar. Chiefs win 5.5. Mm-mm. Chiefs really scrape over the line in this one. Chiefs win, Chargers cover, and definitely take the under. Right, next up. Next up, we have the New York Jets at the Jaguars. The Jaguars lead the AFC South now, seemingly have turned a corner. The spread is 13.5. You would have to be a degenerate gambler to even contemplate that. I know Trevor Lawrence has been better as of late, but please save your blood pressure. Do not touch this spread, even though they're more than capable of doing it.
Brady Cook.
Brady Cook at quarterback.
Yeah, he's the Jets quarterback this week.
I understand the spread more now.
There you go.
I don't have a lot to say about this. Jaguars win. Um,
A month ago, right? So it was about a month ago. Do you remember they were up big on the Texans and then Davis Mills? Yeah, I think that was like the last Davis Mills moment of the where
clutch time Davis Mills.
yeah, and he had that scramble into the end zone and Jacksonville and Houston scored what was it 20 unanswered in the fourth quarter to come back and win that game.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, the Jags have been on a tear since then, and they have played really well.
Mm.
And Trevor Lawrence has played really well.
Yep.
He is streaky, as we know, but
Mm-hmm.
when he's good, he's really good.
That's the frustrating part for me with him
Yeah,
because he makes throws, he makes plays where you're like, fuck, like there's not many players that would be able to make that play. So, like, I do hope, I've lost a lot of faith in him, but I do hope this continues.
Yeah, it's been a crazy season for the Jags. I mean, do you remember the game in London? They got absolutely killed by the Rams.
Yeah, I had
So,
a front row seat for that one.
yeah, like, I mean, I don't want any piece of any gambling with the team that's quarterbacked by Brady Cook. I mean, I know he's going to be, I know he might make some plays with his legs, but the Jets, I mean, that performance against Miami was dreadful. I don't want any piece of the Jets at all moving
Mm-mm.
forward. They're firmly on draft pick order now, moving forward. So I think they've had their token wins for the season now. They've showed a little bit. Aaron Glenn's going to be there next year. Congratulations. You've earned yourself another year of hell with the New York Jets. And Brady Cook, no, don't want any piece of it. I'll take Jacksonville to win minus 13. I don't care. I don't care. I'll still do it.
Okay. Yep. Take care of business. Run the ball with my man ETN. Figure out more this week with Jacoby Myers because they've brought him in. That seems to have given them a kickstart because they've got Jacoby Myers on one side, Brian Thomas Jr. on the other. He seems more more into it again. And this tight end's strange. Like they seem to be quite productive with him. So yeah, I'm going to take them to win. I want no part of the spread discussion. Right, next up, Commanders at the Giants. No Jaden Daniels. I don't want to see Jaden Daniels play again this year.
No.
Like he's too banged up. Think about the future, Washington, because like I think he's been mishandled in all honesty.
Yeah.
And you've got nothing to play for now. And the Giants have nothing to play for. So it's really a case of we secretly want to lose this game for both teams for the draft position. So it's hard to know. I mean, I think Dan Quinn will want them to play hard. I'm sure the Giants interim, I don't know.
This defense, this Washington defense, I mean,
It's trash. Let's face it, it's trash. I don't know what I was thinking last week when I said Washington could go into Minnesota and win. Like I think I was just hoping for a Jaden Daniels bump, but he
I think
was he,
you are going to defend you. I think you were fading JJ McCarthy.
yeah. There's probably a lot of that involved as well. I'm going to say the Giants win this game. Jackson Dart probably puts on a bit of a show, and that's simply it. I don't have a lot to say about this meaningless game.
So I haven't watched a lot of Giants games, which I think, forgive me, I think is understandable.
Yep.
But but all I'm hearing is that, oh, the Giants are a complete mess, but they've got the quarterback. And okay, I haven't watched a lot of games, but have they got the quarterback? Are they sure they've got the quarterback? Because yeah, he's had some moments, but every time I watch him have big plays, they seem to be with his legs.
Mm. Yeah,
There
I
ha-
would be careful with that statement, everyone. Like he shows promise, but like to say that you've solved the quarterback position because your quarterback can run. Well, let's see next year when every team has had an off season to really look at this guy.
yeah, I think they need to see more from him with his arm.
Yeah.
Like, but just from what I've seen, and like I said, forgive me if I'm not being fair to the Giants and Jackson Dart because I'm not paying a lot of attention. But from the New York media that I've heard, they're saying, "Oh yeah, well, they're going crazy, but we got the quarterback." Okay, okay. Just relax, relax, relax. And I know you've been in hell forever with quarterbacks, but you don't know until you know. Like, and you don't know until he's maybe playing in a conventional offense and drop back, read defenses. go through progressions, throw all types of different throws, get his chemistry going with Malik Neighbors when he comes back, and
Yeah.
there's a lot more to it than just like, you know, anyway, from what I've seen. So, but I could be wrong. I could be being
There's promise. Like there's like I agree. I haven't seen like a ton of games, but what I've seen is he can throw the ball, but as you said, can he play at an elite level consistently? That's the question. He's in a tough spot. He lost his running back. He lost his number one receiver. So it's fair to sort of say, he's shown enough promise to let's see what happens in year two.
yeah.
But
That
certainly don't get carried away. Like, oh yeah, we're putting all our eggs in this basket now.
yeah. And I know it's easy to do when your team is truly terrible. Then you have one potential spark, and you're like, "Oh, but we got this." Okay, okay, yeah. Let's just wait. Not a lot to say about this game. Uh, I think this is. I don't want to be cynical, but this is one of these games that you're probably going to look back in January and go, "Damn, why did we win this game?" Marcus Mariota, Marcus Mariota. Washington are just going to. So it's two of the teams that I want to pick against, playing against each other. I'm going to say that the Giants win.
Yeah.
I have no strong opinion at all. I just think Washington's defense is truly, truly historically dreadful. So I'm going to say that the Giants have some success, and can Jackson Dart just drop back and be a conventional quarterback and don't just that play against the Patriots, like where he got leveled. That would be so Giants if like all they've got to cling on to is the quarterback, and then he got himself seriously hurt by doing what he did against the Patriots. And the Patriots, like credit to them, like you can't get away with much these days, but you know that they were like, right, like this guy runs. If he
We're
runs
gonna hit.
like, if you get a shot at him, like just take your shot. And man, that linebacker took his shot. So Jackson Dart needs to be careful, just it wasn't even like a fourth down. And it
No,
was early in the game as well. Just
very early. It set the tone, and they were hitting that night.
yeah. The Giants got physically bullied by the Patriots that game.
Mm.
So the Commanders are not going to be doing that, I don't think. So I'll take the Giants.
Okay, so we move on to the late afternoon window. There's some bangers in this game. I don't think this is one of them. Panthers at the Saints, Paul. Panthers are favored by 2.5. Hmm.
So I'm going to go on because as you know, I have real problems picking Panthers games. So I'm going to go. So I've found a new theory
Mhm.
with Panthers games and Bryce Young, who's possibly my worst quarterback to pick on a week to week basis. Like
Mhm.
almost what mood does he wake up in on that day? Bryce Young, from what I have researched, his best NFL moments so far have been against very good teams, which makes no sense.
Mm.
And hear me out. Do you remember that game last year against the Eagles where
I
they should have?
do. Leggett dropped the touchdown to win the game.
Yeah, and when the Eagles were killing teams
Yeah.
during that period, and the Panthers had absolutely no business in hanging around with the Eagles then.
Mm.
The game against the Chiefs last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this year, they've beaten the Packers. Okay, there was some turnovers involved. They've just beaten the Rams. So these are teams that are like, number one seed or Super Bowl
Mm.
champions or like real top, top draw NFL teams, top draw NFL defenses. And then they go and lose against the Saints. and he's truly dreadful in those games.
Mm.
And I don't know what it is. I really don't know. So on that basis, on that new theory that I've got, I'm going to pick the Saints to win this game. And I think the Saints, I think they're going to stick with this Tyler Shuck running the ball thing.
Mm.
I know it's still early, but Tyler Shuck's going to be given a shot. I mean, he's been given a shot, but he seems to, and I know it's only like a couple of weeks, but he seems to be getting better. And they played better on defense last week in Tampa. So just based on the streaky nature of Carolina, Bryce Young, and how crazy they are, I'm going to say that they follow what I've seen and they played down to the Saints. They lost to the Saints earlier in the year in a dreadful game. So I'll take the Saints.
I think the Panthers' offense, like it, is predicated on their ability to run the ball. If they can run the ball down your throat, like, okay, Bryce Young's going to make a few plays along the way. And even if he doesn't, that's their route for success. And this guy on the defensive line, Derek Brown,
Yeah.
he's a game breaker. Like, I haven't given him enough of his flowers this year. He is a game breaker. They've got some nice pieces on this defense that historically you would say they're soft. You can run all over them. It hasn't really gone that way, that much this season. But I'm going to take the Saints as well. I said that Tyler Shuck should be called Tyler Suck last week. That wasn't fair. Like, I'm not saying that he's going to turn into something, but he impressed me a bit last week. And it's in the Superdome. Get my man Taysom Hill involved. That's what I want to see. I want to see Taysom Hill 4th and 1, direct snap up the middle, power run. Panthers are pretenders, and that's no reflection on the coach. That's no real reflection on a lot of the team, but they just are. Like, they're not going to win this division, in my opinion. They've got 2 games against the Buccaneers. Okay, well, let's see. Because those 2 games are going to dictate who wins the division. I say they lay an egg this week. Saints win. Next up, this is probably my favorite game of this window. The Detroit Lions go into LA to face the Rams in, a game that comes with a bit of spice. It's always going to have it in this era where Matthew Stafford's the quarterback of the Rams and Jared Goff is the quarterback of the Lions. The Lions have owned the Rams in this period post that trade. They have beaten them pretty much every time. But that doesn't mean they're going to win this one, because the Lions have got a lot of problems. The Rams, I don't really see any problems right now. They've got 2 receivers that could really harm the Lions, and a quarterback that is red hot still. Yeah, okay. He had a bit of an off day in Carolina, but this is a great game. Like, I want to watch this game. And the Lions have been into LA. While they haven't played the Rams, they have had a lot of success in this building. So the spread at 5.5, I think is a little bit disrespectful maybe of the Lions. But I see where they're coming from, because Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams against this Lions secondary that have been very up and down. Now, last week, when they played the Cowboys, they made the choice. They said, we can't cover both CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, so we're going to double Pickens and live with the result with CeeDee Lamb. And for the most part, CeeDee Lamb had his way until he had the concussion. And then, like, that was kind of it. That was all she wrote. And I think that was a great example of why you can't hang all your eggs on one receiver in this modern day. I'm not saying go out there and spend 100 million on two receivers, but you do need two legit receivers because that game was a perfect example of now CeeDee Lamb is out the game. We're just going to take Pickens completely out. I am struggling with this game. I think logically speaking, you would say the Rams win this game because Stafford will probably torch this secondary. But I'm going to take the Lions. I think I'm going to take the Lions. They have had the answers for the Rams. I know the Rams are really, really good this year. But I think they'll have trouble with Gibbs this week. And Amon-Ra St. Brown has had a week to get healthier. He had quite a big game against the Cowboys. And I don't know, like the Rams, I feel like you can. It hasn't really been shown, granted, but I think you can attack this secondary.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Lions win.
Excellent. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm going to take the Rams, but I agree with your analogy of this. Like, yeah, to me, this game is just can Goff stand upright for long enough
That's fair.
to throw it deep? Because
Mm.
this game for me is just the Rams front four against this Detroit O line. The Detroit O line can just make it so that Goff can just hang there and not have to move laterally
They're
forward.
banged up in the interior.
Yeah,
So,
and we've seen this Rams D line. But yeah, as you said, you're spot on. The way to get at the Rams is these corners. When you're saying that, like, Emmanuel Forbes is our top corner, yeah, he's played well, but like, you know, they've not got great guys in the back end, like their back seven, linebackers and corners and safeties, like the secondary is the way to attack the Rams. But they are a reflection of the modern NFL. Like if you can get after the quarterback, it masks a lot of things.
mm.
And yeah, as again, you're spot on. Like the Rams can crush this Lions secondary. So I think this is going to be a great game and it's going to be really interesting. And I'm just interested to see because the schedule this week like lines up so that the other teams in the NFC, if the Lions drop this one, the other teams that they're chasing for a wild card in the NFC have pretty nice matchups. So the Lions will be, if they drop this one, the Lions are looking at 2 games behind the wild card. Bears have got Cleveland. The Niners have got the Titans at home. The Seahawks have got 40 whatever year old Philip Rivers at home. They're the wild cards and they're already a game behind the Bears. So they'd be 2 games behind the Bears with 3 left. Yeah. So this is truly a Jared Goff revenge game. Like this could be their playoff life. But I really like the Rams and pass rush masks a lot of things in the modern NFL, especially as you said with the banged up interior of this Detroit offensive line. And Jared Goff is not like a really mobile quarterback back there. Yeah, I think Gibbs is going to have a big day. Yeah, I think probably a lot of the Lions offensive guys are going to have nice games, but so are the Rams guys.
Mm.
And yeah, I think the Rams could put up a lot of points. So I will take the Rams,
The
and I will.
over is 54 and a half for good reason.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is the kind of game where points could be scored quickly. You could look up and it like 10-0 in the second quarter, and then by halftime it's like you're like, wow, where did that happen?
Yeah.
Because these are explosive play offenses, both of them. I'll take the Rams. Don't know about the spread, but I would take the over. And yeah, I think we could look back in a week after on Monday and go, damn, Detroit are 2 games out of the wild card. Detroit are in big danger of missing the playoffs. So this game's huge for Detroit.
Mm. I wouldn't be mad at that as a 49er fan. So the Rams could do us a favor. This next game,
And you're conflicted, aren't you, in that? Because what you don't want the Lions in the playoffs, but then you wanna win your division.
yeah, and that's still a possibility. I mean, I would say it's thin because the only thing is that the Rams play the Seahawks.
Yeah, it's crazy. You've beaten the Seahawks and the Rams so far.
We split with the Rams.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And we have the Seahawks in week 18.
wow, this is crazy. Like, yeah, that division is crazy. All three of you most likely are going to make it.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I think there's still a question mark on the Niners because uh, the Seahawks and the Rams are ahead. They
No,
have more.
no, I think you've made it. I really think you've made it because the Lions and the Bears play each other.
Yeah, that's the thing. Are the Bears going to drop out because it's almost like we would need the Bears to lose to the Packers and the Lions
Yeah,
because the Bears play the Packers again. So we'll
yeah,
see. I mean, the next 2 weeks are huge for the Niners. We might as well go on to the Niners game.
yeah.
You know, this week it's Titans. Next week it's Colts. So it gives us good opportunities to win. You know, we've still got to win the games, but the 49ers are coming off the bye week. And I can't believe this, but Shanahan's record after the bye is 44 and 19. And that's including two disastrous injury seasons like last year. We were 2 and 7. So let's take that away, and suddenly that record is ridiculous. The Titans got their win last week against the Browns. It's a dangerous game, obviously, because the Titans have nothing to lose. So it makes it a lot more easier this time of the year to go, it's 4th and 7. Why the hell not? We'll go for it.
Yeah.
That's where it gets a bit tricky. But I think the 49ers can win this game. I think they will win this game. I think that it could be a McCaffrey type of day. Everyone's new public enemy number one, Jawan Jennings, I'm sure will, you know, make his plays in the blocking. People don't seem to like what he has to say. Shelby Harris of the Browns got his feelings hurt by what Jawan Jennings was apparently saying to him during the game. We're sorry for that. But Jennings is one of those players that you love him in when he's on your team, but you probably hate him when he's on the opposing team. One thing I will say, the connection since Purdy's been back with one George Kittle has come alive. So I say Niners win this game. Heavy dose of McCaffrey with a decent amount of Kittle too. And yeah, that brings the Niners up to 10-4. Gives us a chance.
Yeah. The 49ers are healthy on offense and for the most part. And Yeah, everything seems to be all good. Coming off a bye. Really don't like the Titans' defense. They found something last week which surprised me. Like Pollard ran for a lot of yards against the Browns, which I didn't think was going to happen.
Mm.
But I think this could be quite sneaky high scoring. Like, I think it could be. I'm surprised the over-under's 44 and a half.
Mm.
Because, yeah, like you said, I think the Titans have got absolutely nothing to play for. They're just going to go for it. And the weakness of San Francisco is they're pretty inconsistent on defense. So, yeah, I think the 49ers are going to have major success against the Titans. But I think also Tennessee can score some points. So I say Niners win, Titans cover, and the over.
12 and a half is huge. I mean, I get it. I know the Titans have not been good, but I think they're probably giving us a lot of respect there. All right, so we might as well round out the NFC West. Colts at the Seahawks pool. A lot of developments in Indianapolis this week.
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of what the Colts are actually thinking with Philip Rivers because he's been out of the league quite a long time now.
Four
And
and a half years, apparently.
right, and Philip Rivers didn't have like a really, really strong arm at the end anyway. So what what are you going to get from Philip Rivers at this point? Yeah, you're going to get some like leadership and apparently he's been running this offense in high school. Okay, but this is the Seahawks. This is the 12th man. This is an NFL defense that is ready to go and they're ferociously fast, young, well coached.
Mm-mm.
My first thought with this game was I think that the Colts have more chance of covering this spread if they play the kid Riley Leonard because at least he can move.
Yeah.
I I
Did you
heard
hear the other thing that they made a call apparently to one of your friends first before they called Philip Rivers.
go on what Brett.
They, they, they made a call to Derek Carr.
Okay, and Derek Carr said no, obviously.
Obviously, it didn't work out. Yeah,
Right.
it's the second time that Derek Carr has been called this year.
Okay. Yeah, it does bring up a point. I heard this said, and it is kind of true. Like, what are we doing with like all the backup quarterbacks? Like, they're not ready to go. Is there no? There's not enough quarterbacks in the NFL that we're going to Rivers at this age and Derek Carr, and these guys are out of the league for a period of time. Like, what are we doing with backups? Are
Mm.
they? Each team should have three quarterbacks and then an emergency quarterback, no? So the Colts, like, okay, I get it. So you went into the season with Richardson, Jones, and Riley Leonard.
So where's Richardson? What's his deal?
He's banged up too.
Right. Okay.
But so the Colts, I know that the Jones one was unexpected, but you knew that Richardson was hurt.
Mm.
So then was the planning just, okay, we'll get away with it? So there was no forward planning, knowing that Richardson wasn't ready to go. So if there was any injury, then you're down to Riley Leonard and what we're going to call Derek Carr and Philip Rivers. I just don't get it. This is a team that were hanging around for the number one seed up until not long ago, and now this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I just think it's a complete mess. And I heard it said, and I kind of agree, like this could potentially not be safe.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? You're nearly 45. As you said, the Seahawks play fast. I don't like it. I don't think he should activate. Like, well, he's on the practice squad, and now it's up to the Colts if they activate him. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't play him this week at least. If you're going to play him, maybe play him against San Francisco next week. But even still, like I don't like this.
Yeah, credit to him. I mean, he's always been a real competitor.
Yeah,
I love him as a player. Like I love the trash talking. I love all that with Philip Rivers. But at some point, like,
got to be careful.
yeah, credit to Derek Carr because either hopefully it was just. I hope that it wasn't a money thing. I hope he just went, no, like, I'm good, man. I'm out of the league. Like I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm blessed. I've got my money. I'm good. Like football's a football's a football's a physical game.
Mm.
So we don't know who's playing quarterback. I
Nope.
the Colts have more chance with Riley Leonard of covering, but this is Seattle. This is Seattle, and they kill teams when everything's clicking, and even when it's not clicking, then they weren't clicking against the Falcons, and then they just have like Shaheed has a special teams touchdown, and then just something seems that Seattle's Seattle's a really dangerous team going forward, really dangerous. And yeah, I don't see a way that the Colts cover this. And I hope that I don't see. I love Philip Rivers, and for that reason, I hope that I don't see him out there this week. I really hope that what they're just doing is giving him a headset and he's on the sideline and he's advising Riley Leonard.
Mm.
That's what I hope. But I don't think that's the case because then what happens if Riley Leonard gets hurt?
So it's like, and yeah, off topic, but if Rivers is activated, his Hall of Fame, you know, run becomes null and void. Not that I think he's getting in this year anyway, but it means he has to wait 5 years again. So
Yeah. I
is
mean,
it worth is it worth the risk of health? Is it worth having to wait another 5 years? It seems like he's not that fussed. Like, so fair enough. But it's more about the health, I think. Like, this is a young man's sport, and 4.5 years is a long time, even if it was for someone in their 20s to come back. So I don't see a good outcome.
yeah, he's been coaching high school football. And I heard someone say, yeah, but he's been playing football. Yeah, high school. I don't know. I just don't like it. I just don't like it, like how the body changes as you get older. And I don't think this is good. I think somebody should veto this.
Yeah,
If this happens, I don't think this is a good thing. Really don't.
agreed.
I think the
Agreed.
Colts are done anyway. So yeah, went on a bit of a rant there about Rivers, but Seahawks win, Seahawks cover, and I hope I don't see Philip Rivers out there facing this defense.
Yep, totally agree. Colts are done in my book. So the last game of this window, I don't think this will be very high scoring, but it will be a great game. Packers at the Broncos. I really don't know what to make of the Broncos. Someone asked me this week, who are your top three AFC contenders? And I don't know what it is, but I couldn't pick the Broncos. And that's probably unfair because they're a 10-win team, right? What more could they do? They've come up clutch against really good teams. But there's something telling me, my gut is telling me this team is not going to the Super Bowl. And I don't know what it is. It's just my gut is telling me that, and I follow my gut a lot. This will be a good game though, because obviously the Broncos defense is really good. And I feel like the Packers offense has looked different since Christian Watson has come back. Like I said it last week, he is their number one, in my opinion. But regardless of number one or whatever, his skill set changes their offense because you have to worry about that deep threat. And yeah, I mean, the Packers haven't, it feels like they haven't put a full game together in a while, but they've been very good. Like, they've been very good. You know, they put it all together against the Steelers, you know, for what it's worth. That was a full performance from them.
Only in the second half.
Oh,
Steelers,
that's right, exactly. Only in the second half.
Steelers were leading at halftime.
But their defense is very good. I was actually surprised at how much success the Bears had running the ball in the second half. And it's in Denver. It's in Denver. This is a coin flip. I think this is definitely a coin flip because both defenses are great. I think the Broncos defense is probably greater, but I like the Packers offense more than I like the Denver offense. And I like Jordan Love. I've liked him since I first saw him in that preseason game a few years ago. So I'm taking the Packers to win this game.
The game that, so I think I'm going to pick the Packers. I don't love it, but the reason I'm going to pick the Packers is that I remember the Broncos game, and I know they're involved in a lot of close games, but the Broncos game against the Commanders, and the Commanders had great success
Mm.
against this Broncos defense because they got rid of the ball quickly. So the Packers can just kind of follow that. Don't let the Broncos pass rush get home. Hand the ball off to Jacobs and screens and short throws. And I think that's the way to get at Denver. And Denver's defense is so good that their offense, like they seem to play in moments or they have like a quarter and that will be enough to win a game or a couple of drives. And because their defense is so good, they'll give them a chance to just hang around and then win a game. I mean, they only beat the Jets by like a point. They are truly a WTF kind of team. Like, I don't know about the Broncos. I know the defense is really good, but the offense is not good enough to win a championship the way it currently is. But they have Sean Payton as their coach, so you would expect it to get better,
Yeah.
but it hasn't happened. And we're now we're in mid-December.
Mm.
But they're the number one seed in the AFC. So, or tied for the number one seed in the AFC. So I really don't know about Denver. Really don't know. And Green Bay haven't, as you said, they haven't really they've put together moments. And if they click, they could be Super Bowl champs because they've got a lot of ingredients that you look for in a Super Bowl team. So in Denver, weather's not a factor with this one. It's not going to be ferocious weather. Mile high, the altitude does do funny things to teams. But I'm going to pick the Packers because I think they've got a higher upside and a higher potential as a team than the Broncos. And the Broncos do worry me a little bit just because, only beating the Commanders because like they went for two and that game against the Jets, I know it's in London, but there's been a few games like that with the Broncos. And the Packers just when they have their moments, like that second half against Pittsburgh and that game on Thanksgiving, I mean, they can be really good, but they're not consistent. Both teams are not consistent. I'm going to say that the Packers are more consistent this week, but really, who knows? This
Agreed.
could be a Super Bowl matchup.
It could be. It could be. Sunday night football, the Vikings at the Cowboys. Spread is 6.5 in favor of the Cowboys. Are you going to back your man JJ McCarthy this week, Paul?
I mean, it's tough to go back to back. I mean, it's tough to pick. I've had success picking JJ McCarthy twice this season, but back to back. I like the matchup against the Cowboys defense, though.
Hmm.
No weather conditions. No, I'm not going to pick him to have massive success this week. I think the Cowboys are going to have a good game, good day this game against the Vikings. I know it's the Vikings defense. I don't know it's Brian Flores, but and CeeDee Lamb's out.
CeeDee Lamb full practice today.
Okay. Okay, I feel better about my pick now. I'm taking the Cowboys. Um, and yeah, I'll take them to cover. I think that the Vikings need to play against teams like the Commanders to have success with the way that this offense is running. I know they played okay last week, but that was against the Commanders. Yeah, JJ wasn't asked to do all that much. They ran the ball a bit, but yeah, he wasn't. Jefferson's still not massively involved. So the Vikings offense isn't explosive enough to expose the weakness of the Cowboys, which is their defense. So on that basis, I'll take the Cowboys to win and cover.
Cowboys at home. Dak historically has had great success against the Vikings. I know it's probably a different group now, but I don't understand. Like the Vikings have had like a lot of different quarterbacks over the last few years, and it seems like JJ McCarthy is the first quarterback that can't get Justin Jefferson involved. Like everyone else, my man Nick Mullins was cooking with Justin Jefferson. So that's a definite problem. And yeah, I mean, Brian Flores, fair enough. But you got two when these two are on the field together, CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, and the fact it's in Dallas, Dak tends to play well at home. And you're not going to really run the ball on the Cowboys this week, I don't think. You're gonna struggle if that is the formula. So I think they are going to make JJ McCarthy, you know, win by throwing the ball, and that's the challenge. But as you said, it's a good matchup. You've got the weapons. That's the thing. If it's not Jefferson, you've got Addison. You've got the third receiver. The name's not coming to me, but he's made big plays, and you still have Hawkinson. So it's all there. But I'm taking the Cowboys. I think this will be a classic kind of Dak feel good game, and everyone can continue to tell me that Dak's a top 10 quarterback, and I'm still not a believer. Sorry, he's played well though. He's played pretty well. Although I didn't like what he did last week, heading into Detroit, talking smack before the game about, yeah, we torched them last time and we're going to do it again. You can write that down. Oh, okay, you lost the game. So maybe just produce on the field. But yeah, I think they will this week. They I need to see more from JJ McCarthy in order to believe that he can compete really. So I say Cowboys win and Cowboys cover. We end Monday Night Football with your Steelers, Paul. I believe this is at home. The Dolphins are at the Steelers. Is that right?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so Tua heading into Pittsburgh. Spread is only 3. what do you feel about this one for your Pittsburgh Steelers, Paul?
Um, I feel it's all there for the taking now for the Steelers. Like the division is there, but they're playing against a team in the Dolphins that have quietly put together a bit of a run. Like this team was completely falling apart. And how many back-to-back wins have they had? The
Is it
Dolphins.
three?
It's more than I think it's more than that. The Dolphins are on a four-game winning streak. They're 6-7.
Same as the Chiefs.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, like I haven't watched a lot of the Dolphins. Obviously, I've watched a lot of the Steelers play. Um, the Steelers played a better game. I know the Ravens. We talked about the Ravens. The Ravens are complete. They're not themselves at the minute. But what encouraged me was like they were actually attempting to throw the ball deep, attempting to do something different, and they won the game in a hostile environment. Yeah, Baltimore are different, but they still at least attempted to open up this offense. So I like that. And they brought in veteran guys in your favorite receiver, MBS is there, who had, as you would expect, a drop. But Thielen was on the field, and you know, I don't love it because of that they didn't activate Roman Wilson, who they drafted a year ago. So I don't like that for the future. But
Mm.
we seem to, I don't want to get into a rant about the Steelers, but we seem to be in like a week to week or a year to year kind of basis, like in typical style. Yeah, we'll get Adam Thielen, a veteran. That will solve our problems. Get MVS, that will solve our problems. You're just
Old guys.
we're putting a band-aid over a gaping wound.
Mm.
Uh, so this game is, I really don't know which way to go. It's Steelers at home in prime time. You would expect that to favor Pittsburgh, but the Dolphins are playing well. The first thing I did with the Dolphins was look if Achan's going to play, and apparently he is going to play. He left the Jets game. He had an MRI. It is not a fracture. He's just having a rest from practice, but he is excited, apparently, according to Dolphins beat reporters, to suit up on Monday night. Credit to him. And that changes it because he's really good. And the Steelers have had major problems the last couple of weeks in stopping the run. So, and he's rapid. So, if you don't tackle him first up, then he's a big play threat every time he touches the ball. And every time I pick Steelers games, I seem to get it wrong, and they're my team,
Yes, same.
which I should know, should have at least more of a clue. So,
That's the nature of the Steelers this year, though. It's
yeah,
not about knowing you know your team inside and out, but they are inconsistent this year. And it's not inconsistent just in like performance, but in approach. Like you said, they threw it downfield last week, but what have we seen the last 3 or 4 weeks? Check down Charlie.
mm.
So
Yeah, I didn't see one reporter or social media influencer who covers the Steelers pick the Steelers to beat the Ravens.
mm,
They did because it's the Ravens, like, oh, word of caution, like they do get up for these games, especially against
mm,
Baltimore. So there is some of that. There is some of, you know, they always get up for Ravens week. It's Ravens week, so they'll play hard. Um, I truly don't know. I'll take the Steelers to win, Dolphins to cover. Steelers wins by 3, Dolphins cover. But truly, I have no idea. And if anyone does tell you they have a really strong feeling about this game, I wouldn't believe them.
Agreed. I mean, what's the Steelers' game plan on offense? I don't know. Are they going to throw it downfield this week? In which case, I feel good about them winning the game, or are they going to revert back to dinks to Jalen Warren? Rogers played
There
the
is also,
Dolphins.
sorry to cut in, but there
Yeah,
is also, I've just thought of something. If they do go back to that dink and dunk, then you remember the atmosphere in the stadium against the Bills
yeah,
turned pretty nasty as well, and there were chants of like fire Tomlin, and they were booing Renegade.
yeah.
They were booing Renegade, like which is unheard of. So if it does go that way with the offense, they let them know it. So the atmosphere could turn, and it would turn early because it's on the fans' mind
Yeah.
because of that Bills game. So yeah, they better not go back to that because they will hear it very early if they do.
That's a good point. Their last outing at home was that Bills game. So now I'm definitely picking the Steelers because they owe the fans. I mean, there's been a few disappointments at home. They owe the fans a performance this week. And quite simply, defensive game plan. I don't care what you decide to do, just take away Achan. It's one of those classic moments that I like to pick. If the Steelers walk off this field and Achan has been held under, I don't know, 40 yards and you lose the game, I can live with that. But if you lose the game because Achan's gone for 150, 2 touchdowns, something stupid like that, you will be kicking yourself because he's the key to this offense. Let someone else beat you. Let Darren Waller go off. Let Waddle go off. But do not let Jalen, sorry, Devon Achan go off in this game. And make Tua beat you. You know, at the end of the day, yeah, they've done well, but make Tua throw the ball and beat you. I don't think he can do that in this setting. So Steelers win the game. And I'm going to say they cover this one because they owe it. They owe it to the fans. They've been pretty disappointing at home. So there, I've picked the Steelers.
Oh crap, we both picked the Steelers.
That has not gone well. Like whenever we pick against the Steelers, they win, and when we both pick them to win, they generally lose. But
Yeah.
we will see. Okay, so week 15, who's going off draft? Who you got, Paul?
Sorry for being too obvious, but I'm going to take Jamar Chase against the Ravens. I know T. Higgins is out. I know he's going to get more attention, but he loves playing against Baltimore. And Baltimore had major problems last week against DK Metcalf. So I think Jamar Chase is going to go off again.
I'm going to stay in that game. I think that Joe Burrow is going to be pretty pissed off with how he ended that game. I say Joe Burrow just, you know, in link to Jamar Chase is going to go off on this Ravens defense. If Rodgers, old man Rodgers, is throwing for 300, I think Burrow's going to have a big day.
I'm going to, and I know he's been streaky, but I'm going to bet on the continued progress of Trevor Lawrence in this Liam Cohen offense. I don't like the Jets defense. I like what I've seen from the Jags. So the Jags could have fallen apart after that Texans game, and they've actually got things together offensively. And Trevor Lawrence has played really, really well. So I say he continues that this week against the Jets.
Okay. Hmm. Here's a bit of a Captain Obvious week this week, but I'm praying on the poor. Give me AJ Brown against the Raiders. I'm hoping that the Eagles will persist with this new look offense And if they do, I think Jalen Hurts will have a big day. And by virtue of that, this connection with AJ Brown has come back. And who are the who are the Raiders gonna put on AJ Brown this week? It doesn't matter.
So I'm going to go. I'm not going to pick JJ McCarthy this week, but I am going to pick one of his receivers. I'm going to pick Jordan Addison against the Cowboys defense. He was involved last week. He is a very good receiver, and I don't like the Cowboys secondary. So yeah, I just think that JJ McCarthy, while he's finding himself, is going to feed the guy who he seems to have some kind of relationship with, at least. That's my thought process.
Okay. I'm going to finish off with Brock Purdy's favorite target, one George Kittle. He's had big games, relatively big games since Purdy's return. I think off the bye week against the Titans, I know they won last week, but I say he goes off this week. And it's 2 years to the week that Kittle had 215 yards in the first half against the Broncos, in which I was present for.
He didn't get the record, did he? Or did he get the?
Oh, no, that's it. He got 210 in the
Yeah,
first half.
yeah.
He needed 5 more yards to match. Well, he needed 6 yards to break Shannon Sharp's record. He didn't get another catch in the game.
That's crazy. What at half time he was 6 yards short.
He was on 210 at half time. He had two 80-yard touchdowns.
And he was in the game.
He was in the game, and we didn't
What are
throw.
we doing?
Yeah, couldn't get him the ball again.
Were you did you win the game?
Won the game. Yeah.
Was it comfortable?
So at half time, we had a big lead, and it
Right.
got close at the end.
Okay. But like that's got to be the first thing that, you know,
Get Kittle the 6-yard gain on the
yeah,
first drive. Get it
ab
out of the way.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. If you're up big in the game, like what are we even doing? Because you see these guys, coaches on the sideline, like, oh, we'll try and get you the record or something. The most recent one I can think of is the Mike Evans one.
Yeah, yeah.
Or the
And we
Sa
were we were 2-10. It's not
yeah,
like we were playing for anything.
like the Saquon one where against was it against the Giants? Where he just said, yeah, credit to him, he just said like let the kids play.
Yeah.
But he was still offered the option. Like, did you ever hear Kittle speak about it?
He was very light-hearted after the game about it. Like, you know, couldn't get me one catch, and Shanahan was actually I think pissed that he didn't get him the ball.
He should be. Like, it's very rare that you get a moment to set an NFL record.
Yeah. So I think you've got one. Wait, is that all three?
Yeah, I've done three.
Cool. Okay, so we move on to the Week 15 touchdown to glory. I'll start us off. I'm sticking in Philadelphia. Give me Dallas Goddard, and you can get him at 11-4.
Wow. Okay. I will take Jameson Williams against the Rams. I think that they can have some success, provided Goff stands upright for long enough to throw it deep. They can have some success against this Rams secondary. So Jameson Williams is their deep threat, and he's available anytime touchdown at 2-1.
Put him in. Okay, I will finish off with another tight end. Give me Brenton Strange of the Jaguars. I think the Jags are going to have the ball on offense a lot in this game, so he will have plenty of opportunities to score.
I just wanted a piece of, and I know it's crazy to say, I wanted a piece of the Giants offense because they're playing against the Commanders defense. So I'm going to take Wandale Robinson, who's 2-1, anytime touchdown against the Commanders.
who suck on defense. Okay, let's have a look. So one down. That's a really good price for Wandale because he's kind of the de facto number one at the moment.
Yeah, they have got another guy who I know they've been involved. They've been getting involved. What is the guy's name? The other receiver. Uh,
It's not Slayton. It's the
no,
is it
it,
the tight end
I don't know if he's the tight end. I just don't know.
Johnson or
Yeah,
something?
Theo Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, tight end.
So for that fourfold, you can get that at 103 to 1.
Yep.
So job done. We've hit our 100 mark.
Yep.
Okay. Week 15 best bets pool.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm going to take the Seahawks to beat the Colts and whoever plays at quarterback by 2 touchdowns. This is Seattle. This is the 12th man. And this is the NFL. So you can't really be messing about a quarterback heading into Seattle the way that they're playing. So Seattle minus 13 and a half. I actually think that's generous.
Yeah, I see it. I'm taking a different approach to best bets this week. You'll have to forgive me, but I love this bet. It's an every week bet. Give me Justin Herbert over 24 and a half rushing yards. He is the offense right now.
Yeah. When your quarterback is your number one rusher, yeah, that's not how it should be drawn up. And it's not Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, then something's going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That is not by design. That is because your offensive line is a mess. I Yeah, I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to take the Browns to cover 7.5 at the Bears. This is going to be treacherous conditions. The Bears are involved in close games. I've been impressed with Shador. They can run the ball as well. I just got a feeling they can keep it within a touchdown. So take the Browns plus 7.5 at Chicago.
Okay. I'm doing it. I'm staying in the same game. Patrick Mahomes over 19 and a half rushing yards. These two quarterbacks run the ball a lot in their struggling offenses, and we're getting the same prices as you would for a spread. So you got a decent fourfold there, I think.
Yeah, I love that thought process of that Chargers Chiefs game because, as you said, like watching, I watched the game in 40, the Chargers game, but the Chiefs game, it just struck me like, wow, this offensive line is a total mess. So almost by default, you're they just set off rushing a lot.
And they haven't really raised the number. Like, okay, with Herbert, he's tended to be just under 20, so they've gone up a little bit. But Mahomes at 19 and a half, in this game earlier this season, Mahomes had like 70 yards rushing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I know it's a bit like you don't want to react to it and maybe you're too late. But if it does continue, one of the ones I looked at was Tyler Shuck and he's 21 and a half.
I love it.
Yeah, but maybe they stop that this week. I
We'll
don't,
see.
I
Yeah.
don't know why they would because last week it was massively successful.
Last week, I think I sent it to you. I had that quarterback rushing accas because of the weather conditions as well. It's like I just had the thought, which offenses can't run the ball, which offenses struggle in the passing game, and which quarterbacks run because and who's playing outside, you know, and it was a free for all. Even the guys I didn't pick, everyone went off that like Shuck, for example. Every quarterback that runs went off outside.
Yeah, like that Bucks Saints game, like it was Florida tropical weather. Like the
Yeah,
field conditions were terrible, and He had great success. So this week it's the snow. It's the snow, and it's going to be really cold. The East Coast games.
Mm.
So do you take a bit of Josh Allen rushing yards, but then they're normally priced in already. So he's always a lot higher than
I took him adjusted because, yeah, you're right. He, like last week, he was 35.
yeah,
And
36.
I mean, I didn't adjust it by much. I took him at 30. And it was looking a bit dodgy until obviously he broke the game with that long one.
Yeah. Well, give me a
So
shout. Give me a shout with what you're thinking to do.
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
gonna have a go this week. I'll have a little think as well. Yeah, I think we need to get our get our weather hats on Sunday. Need
Yeah,
to
quarterback rushing, we will do it. We will do it.
we need to check the Met Office, the US Met Office
Yeah.
on Sunday. What is the weather saying in Chicago, in New England,
Yeah.
in New York? Denver's gonna.
Oh, See, Trevor Lawrence, he is in my good books because he was on 10 and I had him at 15.
Mhm.
No, he might have been at 11, but I had him on 15 and I'm like, wow, they're blowing them out. Trevor Lawrence is going to come out the game. And on his final drive, he ran for 5 yards. And I was like, yes. But then I was starting to think, what if he stays in the game and he takes kneels at the end?
Yeah.
Luckily, he came out the game. So,
Oh wow. Yeah, he
yeah.
finished on. Yeah, I've got him here. 16. He finished on.
So a
Yeah.
couple of kneels and you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But and you know who the backup is? I'm,
Minshew.
I'm pretty sure that I saw Nick Mullins out there taking kneels.
Go on, Nick Mullins. Go on, Nick Mullins.
All right, so we're going to finish off. We took a week out last week, but we're back this week. The week 15 wheel spin bet builder. We're going to get one, Paul. We've got 4 chances left. I think this could be the week. Yellow is Lions at Rams.
Yeah. All right. Let's really think this through.
Yeah. So last week, the Lions had a choice to make. Do we double Pickens or do we double CeeDee Lamb? And they went for doubling the explosive receiver, which is going to make me think that are they going to double Nakua and therefore leave Adams one on one?
So you say Adams, you're thinking Adams yards.
I'm thinking Adams yards, but does it matter with Nakua?
Let's have a look what number you get.
You get 62.5 for Adams,
Hmm.
and I'm guessing Nakua, yeah, wow. Nakua is 99.5.
Okay. So you think Adams, yeah?
I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but that is my thinking. Because of their mentality against the Cowboys,
Yeah.
let's take away the explosive receiver.
Yeah.
I think Nakua's the explosive receiver who, could really hurt them downfield. Now, if it goes the way we want it to go, it will just be a complete shootout and they'll be completely unbalanced,
Yeah.
flustered, and they'll be trying loads of different things. But I think this could be an Adams week. And bear in mind, Nakua went for like 150 last week. So surely the onus has to be stop Nakua. And if they do play Adams one on one, that receiver that was on, sorry, that DB that was on Lamb, he was getting cooked. So yeah, I'm going to say it. Let's go. We'll start off with Devontae Adams over 62.5 receiving yards. And if you want to take Nakua, I'm all for it. But That's my thought process with that.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, Nakua's a tough one because his average per game is right at the 100, which is crazy.
Do we go adjusted?
Now, let's see if we can.
Well, what do you think? Because the Lions, are the Rams going to run the ball on the Lions? I'm not sure. So Stafford's number's 277.5.
I like, and I know I did. Yeah, it's tricky because I've got Jameson Williams. I've got I've got Jameson Williams anytime touchdown in that, but I can go against that.
Yeah,
Go against that. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown. I'm surprised. There's even money. I thought that
love it.
I
Oh, I
thought
love that.
done because he's he's caught 9 balls, 9 touchdowns this year. He's third in the NFL in
Wow.
receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, especially with the fact that um, Laporta is still out. You
Yeah.
know, it makes sense. Okay, so we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown. Hmm. I think there's going to be a lot of touchdowns in this game. Do we go Nakua touchdown? Oh yeah, I'm. You know what? I'm going to say it. Puka Nakua anytime touchdown at 8 to 11. That I can't turn down that price. I think maybe one more might do it. Gibbs's number is too high, I think, for this game.
Got 2 passing touchdowns, 4 to 6.
Yeah, I like it.
We could
So that,
keep at that. And
well, that's at 8 to 1. So I
oh,
think we probably.
we need one more.
The thing is, Stafford has thrown a ridiculous amount of touchdowns. I kind of want to go 3 touchdowns for him.
Yeah. So
It's either that or is Gibbs going to go off? It's a bit risky, I think, this week. As great as he is, this Rams front, they can. It's not just rushing the passer.
yeah.
Or hold on one sec. What about this? I want to see Gibbs's receiving. Ooh, Gibbs's receiving number is 40. That seems a little bit high. But when he gets a reception, it's like 20 yards. So
What did you say his receiving number?
40 and a half.
Yeah, no, that's
It's
that's
too high. Yeah.
that's too much.
I tell you what, I think we're going to have to break because it feels like it's a little bit, everything's a bit high. I feel like we should do two adjusted because I want to see Gibbs's receiving number, but I want it lower than that. Like,
Okay.
so if we go Gibbs, I'm thinking like 25 is a better number. Like he hits 25 a lot. So let's see. Okay, so Gibbs takes us to 11 to 1.
Mhm.
with 25 receiving yards. Is there someone else that you want to put in on an adjusted number? Like even quarterback passing yards.
What's the number on Stafford? So Stafford's number.
277 and a half. But I'm thinking if we went even like 250, like he's surely gonna hit 250.
Yeah, yeah, do that. If you can get 250.
250, 13 to 1.